Yo, what's happening guys? Welcome back to Tokimotive. Alright, so I went out to check out the Drift Masters Australia event at QR, just spectate. Did a little second gear pull, getting up to speed, and the left hand rear started feeling like it was jumping. Can also feel a fair bit of play in the wheel when it's on the ground. Like if you shake the body of the car, you can hear it like tick, 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 tick. Something's gone wrong. I've either shat a wheel bearing, chewed an axle, something like that. Hopefully it is something nice and simple and nothing that's going to be too expensive to fix. Because at the moment I'm still riding out the ups and downs of my back and I'm not getting the work hours that I would like to be able to afford to do anything at the moment. Well, alright, so I managed to get one axle sorted. It's back in the car. Turns out they did a complete redesign of the wheel bearings since the factory. And now they're, rather than being a two-piece setup with the outer race getting sort of slotted into the diff housing and being separate, it's all one piece, which I thought, oh, that is going to be fucked if you ever need to take your axles back out again. Turns out they slot in quite nice, but it threw me for a loop for a bit and I just really wasn't sure, but turns out they work alright. $50 each side for the whole kit. Not too bad. With any luck, this one that I pull out is going to be a lot easier, and I'll go through the process of shit with it for you guys that are following along at home. Feeling the new ones, I'm realizing how entirely fucked every single wheel bearing that I have on every axle is. Alright guys, I'm going to crack into the work and I'll talk to you when there's some info you need to know. Alright, axle is out. What I'm going to do is do a cut down here and cut like 80% of the way through that piece there. And then get a hammer and cold chisel directly in there and try and split it. And that should release that straight away. Then I've only got to worry about hammering off the inner race of this bearing. Because once I cut that, I'll be able to sort of break that whole bearing piece away, get it out of the way completely. And then this is sort of what's underneath. You can see it's got that little lip at the bottom. That's a lot easier to get an angle for a chisel in to hit it down and knock it down. It's a slow process, a fair bit of back and forth, one side to the other, bop, 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 knock it down. But eventually it does come off. But I think cutting up through here and cutting the whole bearing carrier and everything straight off will save me a shit ton of time. So I'm going to get into that, chuck us on a hyperlapse. Hopefully this one comes off a hell of a lot easier than the one I did last night. Minutes flat. Alright, that is all off. Took me like 20 minutes flat, which is better than 2.5 hours. So what I've done for my short boy cheap press of Alex's from Super Cheap Auto is I made it a tall boy by cutting a hole in the bench. But it works. I can slot the axle down through that hole, set up this pipe to push on the bearing, which is the same size as the inner race. Believe that's about 35 mil ish. I'll check later. But that, I chuck the old retainer on the bottom, just so it's got a bit more meat to bite into these. Just stop it from slipping, and then literally just press down on it, and the axle presses down through the bearing and pushes it up. Repeat for the retainer, making sure you have the seal and the bolt-on plate on properly before you press the bearing on, because you don't want to destroy your nice brand new bearing by having to try and belt it back off after, just because you forgot one fucking seal. So I'm gonna go through, make sure I've done all that right, get it set up, press it on, and hopefully this press holds out for one more bearing, because the seal that's in there, you can see all that oil. That seal is piercing out fluid. Like ridiculous amounts from just one pump. So I'm really hoping that holds out. Otherwise, I'm probably going to be going to a friend's house to be like, hey, can I use your press? I hope not, because I wouldn't mind getting it back together and assembled tonight. It's currently fucking midnight, but anyway, I don't have to do anything until 8:30 tomorrow, so I'm that close that I figure I may as well at least try and get this bearing pressed on, so that I know if I have to go chase up another press to finish the job. Now that I've done it a better way, this is definitely seeming like something you can do at home without much of an issue. Cheap press to put the bearings on. Nice set of punches and cold chisels, which I highly recommend everyone getting anyway, because they are so freaking handy and save the day many, many, many times for me. And a hammer. Like, it's pretty basic tool set. Like, a cheap press isn't that much, and all you need is a bench with a hole in it, or something to sit it on with a gap in the middle. It's not too bad. But it's only like an extra $80 for a bigger press. But in saying that, you can do it without it. Not too bad, just cutting through that retainer saved hours of work. Applying a little bit of heat made it so much easier. You can get it off without the heat. So this is your wheel bearing kit from Repco for basically every bog Warner diff. Like, I'm talking from like an XR Falcon, like a 60 something model Falcon, all the way to a 31. Literally, same fucking wheel bearing kit. Because they changed the design, and I was like, oh, let's check through the other ones because it was different. But they just moved it from a single, two-piece setup to a one-piece setup. And it works. It works alright. See that? Normally you've got that outer race inside the diff, and then you just got the bearing itself, but this one is a full piece. But, yeah. The other one, I had to wire wheel the bottom here because there was a bit of fucking smuts and a bit of shit there, caked up. But this one isn't too bad, so I just gave it a wipe with a clean rag, get rid of any metal filings that were on there from cutting off that race. But basically, run a bit of oil around the inside of that ring. Otherwise, it's going to bind to the shaft and you might chew out this seal prematurely. So run some oil around in the middle there. And then this way, so it's got the cup facing towards the bearing. You just slot that down. And then your bearing goes this way. And then this ring presses down over the top. And you can see it has that little tapered edge on it. That tapered edge faces towards the bearing. Fucking thing on backwards, and I started pressing it. Now I gotta try and tap that off without breaking the bearing. I'm an idiot. Don't do that. Because you don't want to destroy your nice brand new bearing by having to try and belt it back off. Alright, so after that fuck up, I picked up another bearing. So this time I'm going to press it on the right fucking way. Now, seeing as I can't remember even while I'm saying it, the side you see more of the bearing rollers itself goes towards the seal. This there we go. Because you see that little lower ring there and that, well, that smoother part of the race presses into the diff itself, like that's the housing. So make sure you do it this way, because it will not survive being bashed back off. Gear oil is disgusting. Is done. Not too bad. Now, once I worked out a good method to do it, like cutting through about 80% of that retainer and then getting the hammer and cold chisel on, break it off, and cutting the actual bit that's got all the bearings on it off, so that you can just get straight to that piece, applying a bit of heat. It only took 20 minutes flat to get the retainer and bearing off the last axle. So and it doesn't take long to press them on either. It's like 10 minutes if you're dawdling. So realistically, once the car's apart, half an hour each side, it's not actually that bad. This does actually seem like a pretty at-home doable job. And it's not like I have a good press, it's only a cheap little thing. I just sawed a hole in the bottom of the table to make it taller. And that's pretty well it. As now it's time to start on the install. We've got to get the outer bearing race out of the diff though, because we no longer need that, because the new ones are a single piece sort of job, not a two piece. So I'll get onto that. I'll show you what's to go there. What you got? Come here. Come here. Who's a happy dog? Bye. Put up. Just not bring it with me. What the fuck? In here you got the inner race of the bearing. Simply get a nice long flathead screwdriver or something else you can fit in the hole and get a bit of leverage on. And just work it back and forth until bearing pries out. They're not a tight fit, but it does take a little bit of playing around and wiggling to get it out. When you get to the end, just carefully use the studs that are there as a leverage point. There we go. Out. Double check you haven't got any fucking shavings or shit sitting in there. And just slot your axle on in. And that goes. The little retaining plate that bolts back will only go on one way. And just you'll hit a point where it hits the inner bearings of the diff. Pop it up, it'll go in the hole. Feel it slot into another one, and then it'll spline up just like that. You'll notice I'm putting, these are actually valve spring shims from an RB30 head. You'll see that I'm putting these well, it'd be hard to see behind the axle, but I'm putting these on the threads on the retaining bracket that like holds the seal and pushes it all back. Because if you notice, I'm not running a rear cover for my brakes because I have lost it, and without that little bit of extra take up, you end up bending that retaining plate. So if I put them on and then start to tap this home, then that kind of acts like a shim for that little bit of metal that's no longer there. I thought this redesign of bearings was going to be horrible to press in and out of the diff, but it's really not. Like I'm talking, it comes out easy as it goes in. So. And that's home. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. It drives freaking great now. Like, I've realised I've never had good rear wheel bearings in a 31 because it's so much more stable than I've ever had that setup. So I'm happy with that, and it turned out to be quite an easy job to do at home, as long as you don't fuck it up. Like I did, pressing bearings on the wrong way, and I did the first one the hard way, but probably tell in this video I wasn't in exactly the right mind state because I wasn't really wanting to do work on the car. It was just a necessity this time, but I got it done. It makes some sense. Hopefully you've learned something out of it, and this is valuable for you guys as well. It worked out well, and car drives well, and now I know that I can do it with the tools I have on hand. So that's very handy, and I'll probably set up another set of axles ready to go for if I do blow a wheel bearing at the track. I can just slap the other set of axles in and happy days. Or, chew an axle, because it's not like you can just pop the wheel bearing off and slap it on. 5-minute job. Hopefully in the very near future I'll be starting on this. My back recovery is starting to power along now. I'm starting to get a few more hours again, and things are progressing. So I'm going to start feeling a bit more confident just diving into projects around the shed and everything like that. And in fact, my physio is actually encouraging me to start really getting back to the normal stuff I do in my life and just sort of tapering into it and get my body back used to everything again, now that we've started to build the strength up around those bulging discs, and I'm starting to handle the workload again. So, still not fully better, but I'm getting there. Hopefully the patchiness and the content slows down and stops, and I can get back to being nice and consistent and back on a roll again and feeling good about it. So, yeah. Anyways, not going to keep this for too long here. Thank you guys for coming. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. If you see something I've done that I could have done a lot easier in this, let me know. I'm always willing to take on advice. That is exactly how the second axle turned into a 30-minute job without my fuck up, as opposed to a 2.5-hour job. So, always very willing to take on advice. Thank you guys for watching. As always, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Ooh.